Obviously, my Packers had an interesting draft. Quay Walker at 22, and then at 28, Devonte Wyatt. And I already know what our second round pick today. So, but it's not influenced what I'm about to say. John knows we had our chat yesterday, and I'm gonna quote. I was fine with our draft. Listen, I didn't love it, but I understood it. A lot of the wide receivers were taken right before us. Yes, I was a little bit peeved that we didn't trade up, especially seeing that Detroit traded up from 32 to grab
Hmm.
Jameson Williams all the way at 12. So I felt like we could have traded up at some point. But nonetheless, the run kind of happened. Jahan Dotson, which was one taken a little bit earlier than I thought and it felt, but the run happened. We saw Wilson, or we saw Drake London first, and Wilson, Olave, Jameson Williams, and so after that was like I understood you didn't want to really reach on a guy, even though I was high on, Alec Pierce and Christian Watson. Like we just mentioned, there's a kind of a plateau here. There was a plateau after 20, and like I said in our group chat, I never thought I'd live to see the day where the Green Bay Packers get an inside linebacker in the first round. Because God,
Yeah.
we passed on so many. I think we passed on Ryan Shazier. I mean, obviously what happened to him was fortunate, but we passed on a lot of guys. That other linebacker draft with like Patrick Queen and them. Like I wanted Patrick Queen, we didn't get him, which of course is odd because now we have. Why am I blanking on his name? Why am I blanking on? Devondre Campbell. Sorry,
Yeah.
Devondre. And we just gave him some money, but regardless, I like it. I like Quay Walker. It wasn't the sexiest pick, but did fill a little bit of a need. And if Devondre Campbell kind of falls off, he's there for a few years. Um, I know a lot of people. Some people were really high on him. My boy Chris Sims was at second best. I still would have preferred Devin Lloyd, but maybe they felt Quay. I know Quay is probably a little better in pass coverage and such, so maybe they felt, he needed to fit that role more. And then obviously grab his teammate Devonte Wyatt, who I liked. I mean, man, once again, I've been waiting for a defensive tackle. Raheem Mostert might have finally stopped running. Um, so maybe, but I like to pick two guys that are kind of already pro ready ish, have a little bit more room to grow, but nonetheless, I think that their floor is pretty high. They can contribute right away, and we didn't have to reach for someone, uh, you know, to fill a need, and we didn't trade out, which I was also worried about. But nonetheless, what were your thoughts, John?
My initial thoughts were obviously I was pretty shocked they didn't take a wide receiver, but and I say this, if you take away need and you only go by best available, I really liked what they did. One criticism I'll have for some other teams that we'll get into later is I feel like some teams don't play the draft the way, like they don't look at the positional value or they don't like care about the player's value. They go strictly off their board as opposed to where they could probably get that guy later. Cough, cough, Patriots with Cole Strange. I just think that like if you're gonna play the draft effectively, you have to understand where other teams are most likely going to be like ranking certain players, and if they're going to be available later, where you can maybe get them, and if you can, then maybe you don't get them yet. Like I said, I have more specific scenarios of different multiple teams doing that in the first round. The Packers did not do that. I felt like by the time that they were up, I didn't think there was a single wide receiver that was going to be taken in that first round, except for maybe Christian Watson. And obviously, we saw that he wasn't taken. So I feel like there was a lot of good value still left at wide receiver they could have gotten in the second round, and there was no need for them to reach for it in the first. So with Quay Walker, he was my third ranked linebacker in the class. I like Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean a little better. I feel like Nakobe Dean didn't really fit the Packers because I feel like oftentimes the typical build they go for linebackers is a lot bigger than Dean. He's only about 5'11. Quay Walker's 6'4. So he fits that sort of size profile. I mean, I think back to when the Packers signed Julius Peppers. Like they like those big, long, rangy linebackers that can cover a lot of space with their size. But Quay Walker is also incredibly fast. So he can do both. Like I said, 6'4", and as you mentioned, really good in pass coverage. So anyway, I like Quay Walker. I would have preferred Devin Lloyd, like you said, but I still think that Quay is a pretty good pick. And then I love Devonte Wyatt. I thought he was an absolute steal at the spot that they got him. I think that Jordan Davis is going to be the more hyped up of the two Georgia defensive tackles, and I think that he's probably better overall But to me, Wyatt feels a little more versatile than Davis. I think that he's a better pass rusher. I think that he has better stamina. That was my big knock on Davis. I think that Wyatt has a lot more of an ability to be a 3-down defensive tackle. And so I love the fit of him next to Kenny Clark. And like you said, maybe this means Raheem Mostert will finally stop running. So I loved what the Packers did in the first round, honestly, if you remove the need. And, spoiler alert, we saw what they did in the second round. So I think that sort of brought some security and made it feel a little bit better as to what they did.
Yeah, maybe we know why Aaron was so a little relaxed on Pat McAfee last night about them getting two defensive guys. He knew he saw the plot. So maybe.